me just take just a second here and talk a little bit about, sorry for my camera angle, talk a little bit about corporate aviation versus charter. So, everybody knows who the airline pilots are, and nothing against the airlines, but that's a pretty rote job. You fly the same routes, the same aircraft. It's the same day over and over again for the most part. Airline guys, you're all going to give me grief and you're going to say, oh my God, you just insulted us. We're airline pilots. We're God's gift to aviation. And go on believing that. That's absolutely fine. We as corporate pilots think we're God's gift to aviation. But corporate pilot, charter pilot, airline pilot, they're all fantastic jobs, and we really need pilots right now. So if you're somebody that wants to get in aviation, we encourage you to start paying your dues now. But real quick on the difference of a job for a corporate pilot versus somebody who does charter. So this aircraft that I manage, and through Renegade Jets, we manage different aircraft, and that includes making sure the maintenance gets done, making sure the aircraft is staffed, making sure the hangar's clean, making sure the catering gets done, making sure the travel arrangements are all set. So corporate flying is kind of a many-faceted or multifaceted job. We do much more than fly the aircraft. But in addition to that, the corporate environment, the private jet environment, is a very fluid environment. So where the airlines and the charter guys and gals, and I've been both. I've been an airline pilot. I've been a charter pilot. I much prefer corporate aviation. And the reason why is less of a lifeline, I guess. So we don't have dispatch. We don't have somebody that does the flight plans for us. There's nobody that tells us when to fly, how to do the numbers. Corporate aviation, you're responsible for everything. And you're going to see this as a common theme in all my podcast episodes, is every aviator, every pilot is responsible. But more so in corporate aviation, because there's, and it's not that one's less safe than the other. We're still professional pilots. So I'm not here to compare safety. I'm not here to compare what's better or worse. I'm just here to give you a glimpse of what I do, and you can take that for what it's worth. So we need to make sure, doubly sure, since we don't have the same checks and balances as, let's say, an airline crew, where dispatch has planned their flight. Dispatch has determined a bunch of runway numbers. Dispatch has provided weather packages, has done runway analysis data. There's a whole lot of things that dispatch will do for, let's say, a Part 121 airline pilot that a Part 91 guy, a corporate pilot like myself, does for ourselves. So we'll pick the airports, we'll pick the alternate airports, we'll pick we'll make the go, no-go decisions. And of course, any aviator and any captain makes their own go or no-go decisions. But I prefer the more dynamic nature of corporate aviation. That's why I've been flying jets like this. So, in any given month, I may fly, 3 or 4 different makes or models of jet. And in any given month, I may fly multiple different aircraft for different owners. So it's dynamic, it's interesting, but you getting started in aviation, you all start at the same point. You all start where you start flying. I really apologize for the bouncing camera. Let me make it even worse for you. We're in turbulence right now. My camera girl and I were just arguing, which is Mrs. Renegade Aviator. So I am really tough to deal with, ladies and gentlemen. I seem real warm and fuzzy here on the podcast. But I'm an asshole. I am a big asshole. And Mrs. Renegade Aviator will confirm that later on in the podcast, so stand by. But people ask me all the time, how do we get into flying these cool airplanes? How do we get started? And it's all the same way. Go to your local airport and start flying airplanes. Don't expect, there's a lot of this ab initio stuff. People will come from the military and they kind of get spoon-fed along the way, brought up rapid fire, and magically go from zero to hero in a short amount of time. renegade aviators like myself, a little bit about my history, man. I started flying with zero money. I had nothing. I would scrape together what few dollars I could. I'd go to the local old guy at the airport, hand him a little bit of cash from doing odd jobs or saving money, and I'd say, how long can I fly for? And I flew in J3 Cubs and Aranca Champs and Cessna 152s, Cessna 172s, you know, and kind of, you know, paid as I went. It took a lot of years to get here. The point of this whole thing is don't allow your mouth to utter an excuse why you can't do it. You can do it, but you better pay your dues. So one of the problems we're seeing with our brand new FOs is they've got 600, 1,000 hours, 1,500 hours of flight time and think they have experience. Talk to the guys with 40 years doing this and 20,000 or 25,000 hours of flight time, and you'll realize that the high time guys are the ones that realize we don't have all the answers. But what you will find is for the people who shut up, show up, and be excellent, for people who show up every day at the airport, whether you're flying or not, for somebody that learns as they go, you know, spends that little bit of money they have and flies what they can, when they can, offers assistance, offers help, you will be welcomed eventually by somebody not near as nasty as me. So keep that in mind. Wait, I got to go find Laura, Mrs. Renegade Aviator, and have her confirm that I'm an asshole. Stand by. It's a new hangar, so we haven't furnished the room yet. Hold on. Hey! I told the people in the podcast I'm an asshole. Is that true?
Yes.
Oh, shit.